Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Formula Roblox League. It's Season 10. It's FRL's coverage of the Japanese Grand Prix in Nagoya, an unexpected stop in our calendar today as we're getting ready to start the qualifying 10 minutes. There's a lot to play for today as T-Jerk Boy 1267 could become the first driver in FRL history to win 5 consecutive races. He joined the 4-in-a-row club last time around, a feat that has only been achieved twice in the history of the league, according to the stats that I have. But Man Pifting is not far behind in terms of pace, and here on this track that we weren't expecting to race at, it will be interesting to see who comes out on top. My name is Gus the Goose, here for your coverage of this race and all races this weekend will be streamed on this YouTube channel, and joining me is the always insightful Leo Parter 612.
Hello everyone and welcome to this stream of Nagoya Division 1 Round 9 of Season 10. Currently my screen is a little freezy, so I'm sorry about that. I want you to pay attention to the weather changes coming into this session. In 9 minutes we will see some light rain, so that will definitely make some difficulties for the drivers trying for their fastest laps.
This is a new layout to the circuit. It was introduced last season, I believe, as part of an update to make racing here more interesting. There's some extra chicanes. The hairpin at the end, the start of the final sector into the second sector, has been brought forward and made sharper, but it is still an interesting track in our calendar. It is actually what my other fellow hosts would call a roval. So it is a road course built around an oval. The main straight will be a standing start that takes place on the oval, and the main straight is most of the oval until a very sharp left-hander, in which you're going to see lots of drivers possibly go wide, then downhill into a left-hander, into another left-hander, which is where we see our championship leader in the 87 black and yellow confirmed racing squad. That is T-Jerk Boy, or TJ, as his friends affectionately call him. Goes through the chicane, which is part of the new layout, into this brilliantly banked corner on his lap. You have to lift off slightly, but not too much. That's to not run into the gravel. Very punishing. And to another new chicane. This is probably my favorite part of the track. You really have to fly in there. Quite punishing if you go wide. He keeps it very clean. Bumping over the curbs. Great feedback for the driver to know where they are. Into the tight bus stop. You have to brake a lot earlier than you initially think going into the second sector. It's going to be a huge time variance there. And it looks like he wasn't happy with that lap. And he aborts.
Next up is Man Pifting, who doesn't appear to have made a mistake. Now going into a very difficult corner, left and right, into sector 3. He seems to be flying. He got a purple sector 2. Now slinging it right and left. Beautiful flowing section right here. Don't go over the curb because you will get a slowdown. And going full throttle, 300 kilometers per hour, up to 320 as you approach the finish line, and he goes P1 of course with a 130.1.
Elias goes half a cents down. Tax goes very close to the same time. While he was doing that lap, the fastest middle sector was claimed by the Swift GP driver of Going Me Chris 2, who is still fastest in the middle sector. T-Jerk has yet to start a lap. His fastest first sector is still from the lap that he aborted as Tofu, who returns to the championship after a short hiatus, goes fourth, but is quite a ways off the pace and will be looking to improve on that as Kit Kat goes P2, quite close margins out in front of the top three, separated by less than a tenth of a second, less than half a tenth of a second.
As we see now, Sassy opening his lap, going through that final bend, going across the finish line. We will see how he fares at this qualification attempt. T-Jerk is following behind him.
Looks like T-Jerk is still on an out lap because it's that fastest first sector that he claimed
Goes
on his
very
aborted
wide.
lap. Ooh, it's quite a wide entry in that corner, but you can recover. It is a long run down to turn one. This is where they'll start the race. It's a banked oval corner, so the drivers are going to feel themselves being tugged towards the right. They're going to be fighting it to stay low. He's right on that apron line. This is the difficult corner. You have to whip right and then turn immediately left. If you brake too hard, you'll be onto that painted surface, which is a heavy slowdown. He's made it very clean, quite precise. But then this next corner sneaks up on you.
Oh,
We'll
and he
see
slowed
how he
down.
cuts the beam.
That is tragic for TJ. Now the pressure really starts to pile as there's 5 minutes left in the session and he still does not have a time on the board. Only 5 times, in fact, are on the board, and it's starting to. They're definitely starting to feel the pressure now, with 5 minutes remaining in this session as Tofu opens his second lap. Going with Chris
It's
as
one of
well.
the longer distance tracks on the calendar, but there's a lot of places you can make mistakes. A lot of the corners sneak up on you. You have to attack them with full confidence. It's wreckers or checkers for a lot of these corners. And because of the long run nature of this track, if you make a mistake, you're going to lose a lot of time by having to run again compared to a shorter track such as Constantina or Lukov. This is still one of the classic Formula Roblox tracks. A lot of drivers will be familiar with this
Oh,
place. As Sebastian Coteau goes on to provisional pole with a 1 minute 30.045. Brilliant lap from the Funny Group Racing driver.
I think it's about time that we break into the 29s, as that's the predicted pole time as Chris Cross OMG goes 29.9. Perfect timing. Play Games now about to finish his lap as Ava Flakes goes third fastest. Play Games
Blake
climbing
Play
the
game setting a
gears.
lap for his final Nagoya Grand Prix. He's retiring at the end of the season. He goes P3, 2/10 off the time. Very good lap from him. Tofu has to respond to his teammate, but has no improvement in the first sector. Golami Chris 2 also bailed on their lap. Two very fancy runners today with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to
There
go.
it
Don't
is.
have a lap as Man Pifting improves
And
even further. But Tiru Chelvam puts another 10th between him and the field and sits on provisional pole.
let's take a look at this beautiful livery from Mantai Racing, the Pink Pig, special for this Nagoya Grand Prix. Putting in that pole position would be absolutely the dream scenario for the team. As KitKat goes P2. Chris
The
went
two Division
P4.
2 East rivals of old are 1 and 2 as it stands on the track. Teo Trelvin is leaving for another outlap. Very difficult pit lane exit. You have to go heavy on the brakes earlier than you think and not release them. It's very tempting to do so. Teo Trelvin washes onto the racing line, does well not to impede anybody. There's going to be a lot of people watching that pit lane exit for impeding because it's very easy to just jump in front of someone on a lap. But looks all clean so far from what I see.
Yep. They are very behaved here in this Division 1 race. I think Division 2 will be a different story, unfortunately. Let's take
I
a
don't
look
see
at
any.
KitKat. He has managed to go P2. He is the driver to watch for this weekend, as he is very much on form at this circuit. 18 points in the last 2 races, and the last time we raced at Nagoya he was victorious. So definitely keep an eye out on him.
Very successful campaign last time out in Buenos Aires. The rain strategy was called very well by him and ended up taking the lead of the race, finished 4th behind the 3 championship protagonists. He missed out on the podium, but he was very happy with that result. The Ukrainian driver in that number 13 Scuderia Squadra. No Triskai decaphobia here as T-Shirt Boy, most successful qualifier in the field, puts 4/10 of a second between himself and the rest of the field. So T-Drick has finally put in a lap that he can probably be happy with. And it looks like he's going to go again. We're right on the window where you can possibly get another lap in. It's going to be tight to the green flag for T-Drick.
Man Pifting, his rival in the Confirm Racing Squad car, goes only red in the first sector, so he definitely wants to improve upon that.
The tires won't be in spec, but Man Pifting does have enough time to do a double push. Going Chris 2 is finishing his outlap, it looks, as he rises onto the banking. Sebastian Coteau was on provisional pole just a moment ago, and is now 1 second off the lead time. The improvement, the evolution here is ramping up massively. Let's see where he can go. Jumps back up to the front row of the grid for Sebastian Coteau.
Yes, this track evolution is definitely real around Japan. Those beautiful cherry blossom trees are helping the drivers see the track better, and it's getting faster and faster by every second.
We come down to the final minute of the qualifying 10 minutes as Play Games enters the pits. Interesting strategy, likely going to do a bit of pit stop practice at the end of the session. Italy, as though, comes across the line. No improvement. Currently the slowest qualifier, down in 14th for PHX Imperium. T-Drick Boy remains on provisional pole. And I don't see any new purple sectors. Looks like a lot of people are struggling with that first sector. The first sector of this lap is extremely short. It only involves the oval, and I believe the first corner as Tiru Chelvam hits the wall in his final lap attempt and has to bail. Currently sitting in P2. Very good lap from the number 14 Manti Racing driver. Kit Kat will come across the line, no improvement, stays fourth, but a brilliant qualifying effort from him. Man Pifting appears to be
And it's
on a
raining.
lap as going to Chris
And it's
Chu.
raining.
It
So
is raining.
far,
The rain has begun. The track will only be dry for a few moments. That puts a wrench into the strategy. Going Chris 2, third in the championship, 6 on the road today.
yeah, this will take a toll on a number of drivers' laps as Crisscross struggles and he bails out on the lap. I don't think we will see any more improvements as Man 15 is stopped on track. He's given up. It's over. P5 on the grid for him.
Man Pifting moves out of the race for another car, unable to get another lap in. It's going to be P5, but some very fancied runners slightly out of position. But as it stands, it looks like Tiedrich is unchallenged in front. We'll wait for the finishing timer to go down before we officially call our pole sitter. But as it stands, Tiedrich Boy will get his 5th consecutive pole position and his 8th of the season.
Track conditions are now damp, so definitely no more improvements. And yeah, that's been qualifying, and let's see what the race presents in front of us.
So Tiedrich, your fastest qualifier in Nagoya for Season 10, Division 1, as he comes into the pits and finishes his session as no further improvement due to the raining conditions. 5 consecutive pole positions and 8 overall for Tiedrich Boy. I'm not sure where that puts him on the all-time list, but he's definitely getting to the close to the most poles of any FL driver.
Yep, let's take
I believe the record is still
really
held by
quick
Mark
peek
Ampino.
at D1 standings. We have Tiedrich in the lead with a 33-point gap to Man Pifting. In third, we have Going Me Chris for Swift GP, miles back from these two. In fourth place, we have Ava Fleck. He's looking to continue his very, very strong season. In fifth place, Chris Cross with 60 points for Cotangents Racing. He's definitely looking to make some inroads on Ava Fleckies in this race. As we now go to the grid. Okay, that's not what I was meant to do.
Don't want to go to the grid?
Yep.
All right. Stand by and get ready. The rain has fallen here in Japan. It's a beautiful day with the blossoms in the air. Pin your throttles. Let's go from Nagoya. The number 87 Tiedrich will lead the field to green. It's Tio Chelvam who slots in behind and is already under pressure from Sebastian Cateau. They ride alongside the banking. All clean so far, but we'll see how they deal with the difficult braking zone into turn 1. Tiedrich hits his marks. Slides into the corner. Everyone seems clean so far. It looks like the only person who came a cropper was Tax, who slightly went over the curbs and seems to have lost a position or two as a result. Sebastian Cateau is pressuring Tiedrich as he has jumped Tio Chelvam on that first tour. They'll go into the first chicane and ride over the first 3-dimensional curbs on this track. Tiedrich maintains the lead.
Yep, as they approach the spoon curve, as they like to call it, in Suzuka in Japan in Formula 1. Now approaching the chicane. Some would say it an artificial chicane, but I think it very much sits there as it should. The fight for the lead is starting to disintegrate a little bit as Tiedrich is starting to build a gap on those medium tires, by the way. Let's take a look at the tires. Ava Flecky is the only person on softs, and we have Going Me Chris and Italy on hards.
Man Pifting has jumped from 5th place up to 2nd place and now challenging his teammate and championship rival for the lead of this race, but Tiedrich seems to be maintaining dominance so far. Kit Kat has slotted into 3rd from his starting position, as the 2nd and 3rd place runners, Tio Chelvam and Sebastian Cateau, are starting to get swallowed by the field a bit. Ava Flackys is the fastest mover on the first lap and is up to 4th place, but is on the quickly expiring soft tires as the rain is coming down. When will we go into intermediate conditions? It is currently condition 1 wet track, as you see on the right-hand side of your screen, the blue box next to the weather. When that hits 2 box, or condition 2 as we call it here in the booth, it will be time for intermediates, but intermediates can be run in condition 1. It's all up to the drivers and their intuition now to figure it out, as Ava Flackys is challenging Tiedrich for 2nd place. Man Pifting took the lead on that last tour.
Yeah, Tiedrich has seemed to have bogged down a little bit, as Tio Chelvam goes very wide, and that's a huge time loss down to P7. Do not let this snowball into a bigger mistake, because that's a paradox that happens very often here. You make one mistake, you make a second mistake, and it's just all going wrong. Ava Flack is still holding on to that B2 position, battling with T-Jerk. KitKat following closely behind, and Crisscross in B5.
Into what has been called the bus stop hairpin by some drivers. Avaflakis has slightly edged forward ahead of T-Jerk, but Avaflakis is on that softer tire, and T-Jerk is not letting him go into the chicane, one of the most difficult corners on the track. T-Jerk takes the position back, but is still under pressure from the Lagwar Racing rookie. Currently fourth in the championship is Avaflakis. T-Jerk leading the championship comfortably. He could not take part in this race, and Man15 could get a Grand Slam, and he would still lead this championship. Such has been his dominance since Season 10.
Ava Flackis remains as the fastest lap holder as we take a look back at the tax 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Lesado's HB team, running that Brazilian livery from Rio, I suppose. He's holding on to that P8 position ahead of Brawl Stars Master, and 10th we've got Going Me Chris. That's a little bit unusual for him, as he usually fills up the third podium spot after Man15 and T-Jerk. So definitely this track layout change has changed up the grid a little bit, and it's creating a
Chris
challenge.
too has finished in the third spot on the race 5 times this season so far, and has the most podiums of any of the drivers, besides the 2 confirmed Racing Squad drivers who have been 1 and 2 at every single race so far. It looks like they're attempting to maintain that once the soft-clad runner of Avaflakis gets out of the way, but it has been a good start for Avaflakis, making up position for the next pit stop cycle. Avaflakis, in fact, takes the lead of the race on that soft tire in front of Man15.
Oh, but unfortunately, I think he's gone out wide across the curb, and that slows your momentum down, and Man15 has retaken the lead as he goes a bit wide, and they all concertina together, and they're separated by nothing going into the final corners. Take it steady, do not go wide here, because that's detrimental to your momentum. Across this long flat out section, the banking, as we enter lap 4.
T-Jerk and Avaflakis go low. Man15 cuts high to attempt to break the slipstream from KitKat, who is staying in waiting behind, currently running in 4th place, which is his best ever D1 result. Last time out. Heavy onto the braking zone. Brilliant shot of the ride on board. Everyone keeps it clean in this battle to that corner. Expect to see that get more difficult, not only as the tires wear down, but as the track's conditions get worse with this rain coming down. Avaflakis now is falling behind the top 3 as KitKat slots into the podium places in that blue and star-clad car. The yellow and black car is T-Jerk, made a massive mistake in the chicane, and he's fallen back to 4th and has to recover.
He has to remain in that slipstream, because that's one of the key elements of this race. You have to stay in the lead pack if you want to fight for the win. That's just how it goes. Crisscross is trying the same thing, just on the brink of that slipstream range. Play games, I think he's fallen out of it. So the top 5 seem to have figured it out, and they are on pace to finish top 5.
KitKat takes the lead of the race into the hairpin from Man15, but Man15 will challenge him into the chicane. Heavy on the brakes, right over the curbs, KitKat maintains the position, dipping into the soggy grass. Man15 is catching up to him, though, and takes back the lead of the race into the final corners of the racetrack. KitKat is washed wide. We'll see how they take this final corner. Man15 maintains the lead onto the main straight as we start the 5th lap of this Japanese Grand Prix at Nagoya. KitKat is in the slipstream and is being towed along, it seems, by Man15, looking for an even better result after taking his best one last time. Avaflakis is challenging T-Jerk. That wasn't an ideal line, and is now giving an opportunity for Crisscross OMG to now join this slipstream race, who has left the rest of the pack behind and is looking for something greater.
Yeah, let's ride on board again. The conditions just worsening and worsening by every lap. However, we have seen on the radar that there's a dry patch coming in about 20 minutes, so we have to wait and see how this race plays out, as T-Jerk bumping across the asphalt. It's very difficult, this corner. You have to keep your suspension alive. And going into the chicane, go across the bumps, not too much though, and avoid the cone. And Man Pifting leads, with Ava Flakey's closely behind. Now let's take a look down the pack, as there are some big battles brewing. Tiro Chelbam takes P7, sorry.
The midfield pack is forming together. The slipstream nature of this track has caused them all to kind of coalesce in the middle of the racetrack. As Crackdev, who has returned to Division 1 a few rounds ago, Ford TMP Motorsport managed to get that team their first Division 1 points of the season last time out, is looking for more. Most of the drivers here are currently running in the points, except for Tax, Tofu, and Ilias, though, who have had some scruffy opening tours on this race. Goemi Chris 2 is caught in this midfield pack, is not where he wants to be. He's going to have a difficult time getting to the front because of the massive gap forming between this pack. But as we see, Play Games is currently the one leading this group, as Brawl Stars Master is starting to fall out of sync. This will be the battle for the remaining thing, as Sebastian Cateau, who had a brilliant first part of this weekend, has fallen all the way down to 11th place. A shame for the number 24 Funny Group Racing driver, but we will see better things of him in future, as Hugh Shelvum takes 6th place from Play Games.
Goemi Chris still struggling in these conditions. But I don't think the hard compound tire was the right choice. But once again, the weather in this game is very unpredictable. As in 13th place, fighting for the final championship point, we see Tax and Sassy Imposter. In P14, Tofu falling behind quite a bit. Same story goes for Italy, as they're looking to
Tofu returns to the championship after a long absence and is placed in Division 1, currently struggling a bit with the pace as he takes that chicane quite tight. I believe he did get slowed down from that.
A bit too
Italy,
tight.
so will be catching behind, but unfortunately for them, it is for positions that will not award any points later on in the race. The racetrack conditions seemingly have stabilized, so everyone is still on these dry tires, as Men15 leads from Kit Kat and Ava Flacky's T-Jerk is still in sync as Ava Flacky's comes in to remove the hard tire, and the 19 Lagwall Racing crew is waiting for him.
Down this long pit lane. Stop on your marks. Get your car lifted and go, go, go. Of course, nobody follows Ava, as he was the only driver on the soft compound tire.
He has made it through just about over a quarter of the race. Yeah, 7 is a quarter of 28. So over a quarter of the race done on that soft tire. That will be good information for the rest of the teams if they decide to run that other compound. Most drivers here on the mediums. However, because it is raining, the 2 compound rule no longer applies. You can run the same dry tire the entire race. That is the regulations we have in FRL. If it is raining, the 2 compound rule does not apply anymore. So we might see drivers run nothing but mediums to the end if they can remember this. Eva Flacky's slots out currently in 13th place and will likely go forward once the other drivers pit, doing a kind of a distant satellite undercut strategy as it stands. The number 19 Lagwall Racing driver.
Yep, the pit loss seems to be around 17 or 16 seconds though. That's the gap the leaders will be looking at for the rest of the race if they want to clear someone. Tiro Chelvam currently occupying the 5th place for a very good top 5 finish for Manta Racing. T-Jerk still, after winning 5 races in a row, he's still not in the lead, which is kind of surprising to me.
5 pole positions in a row, 4 races in a row, looking for his 5th, which would be a brand new record in Formula ROBLOX in the top division. No other driver has won 5 consecutive races in a season. I'm not sure about poles because he has got 5 consecutive poles, but he had a lot of pole positions last season. He's getting up to the top of the list of all-time pole sitters. If not at the top of that list, we'll have to run the numbers after the broadcast. He is still somewhat in range with the drivers in front, but seems to be having trouble really catching up to them with these raining conditions, the worst grip. Once you get that slipstream, it's hard to attack them into the admittedly very tight and very fast corners that we have here on the Motor Park Nagoya layout that was debuted last season in Season 9. Oh, rough corner for Kit Kat. The number 13 falls behind Teacher, and the Confirmed Racing Squad 1-2 is restored. He'll look to challenge. He goes right down low to the curb and will get back into the slipstream, but that's not what that driver needs. He has not fallen into the clutches yet of Crisscross OMG, but he has to be clean. He can't afford many more of those here at this race. as the grip worsens and the tires wear down. It's all about keeping yourself together and coming back to fight another day.
As Crisscross is just barely catching the slipstream of the group behind. This is definitely some nerve-wracking moments for him in this race if he wants to stay in the lead battle, as now we see Man15 just struggling to turn the car in this final sector. This corner, which is usually flat out, has to be lifted as he goes high up on the banking and back down across the finish line to start lap 9.
Crisscross OMG currently sits in a rather lonely 4th place. Has a very strong season so far once he returned. He's done 5 races so far with an average finish of 5.2, currently running higher than his average. Had a very surprise podium in Halong Bay, fought Man15 for most of that race. A lot of smiles on that Polish firm, Oleo Cotangent Racing, for the number 28 driver. He is falling in and out of that slipstream battle for the front, hasn't really been able to make any real pressure on it, aided by the fact, of course, that Avaflaki's pitted, who has just overtaken Sussy Imposter, his teammate, for 12th, as he's looking to cut through the field, having gotten the first driver to stop for new tires, as it looks like the mediums are starting to really wear down on his teammate, the number 17 English driver, Sussy Imposter.
Avaflakis has so far gained 2.5 seconds now, as he overtakes Stax for the Lazado's driver for 11th place. As Stax has DNF'd, what has gone on?
The Lazado's driver is out of this race, was running on the fringes of the points, but sadly it will be nothing for Lazado's today. The sole Lazado's runner in this race, I believe. Yes, because Elizo is in a PHX. So the sole Lazado's runner is out of this race. What a shame for the Brazilian team.
Yep, definitely. They were looking to
Crisscross OMG overtakes Kit Kat for 3rd. They are fighting for the final podium position.
Oh, very wide.
Wide line for both drivers. Kit Kat into the worst corner cut on the track. Crisscross OMG comes into the pits, as does Man15.
And Diedrich stays out.
A rare sight. The Confirm Racing Squad drivers are splitting the strategy. There's probably no strategy for this kind of race anyway. The number 7 driver awaits his crew for Confirm Racing. It's a solid stop as Kit Kat has one of the final boxes.
As we see all the cars
will come out in 9th. We see a lot of the field is going into the pits. That promotes Going Chris 2 up to 2nd place, but he still owes the field a stop. This is going to be an undercut attempt by Man15.
Look at this undercut from Avaflakis, though.
The undercut strategy has put Avaflakis in front of his rivals, but of course he had to pit a lot earlier and will be looking to try to survive the later stage of the stint. Man15 is on the softer tire, opting not to go for another mediums, which is in his right due to the rain race, nullifying the 2-compound rule. So Man15 is going to try to catch up to Avaflakis, and just as Flakis did on that last stint, get track position. The soft tire seemed to work quite well for Avaflakis. He ran very long in this race, pitted 3 laps before the rest of the field.
And Crisscross has opted for the hard compound tire, so that's looking like a one-stop strategy from the Orleo Contingents Racing Squad. And Man15 is already on the tail of Avaflakis. This is gonna be a difficult battle for Avaf to fight off the soft compound running Confirm Racing Squad car as Diedrich pits.
See, very interesting to see where he comes out relative to his teammate. The sky is slightly clearing up, but it is still raining and will be doing so for another 12 minutes as Tier Shelvem and Play Games come in line astern in that mid-pack battle. Overcut their rivals as Tier Shelvem is long in his box. The 14 crew is slightly behind him. He's going to lose time. Where does Tiedrich come out relative to his teammate? He's behind Crisscross OMG and will still have to stop. Man15 has undercut his teammate.
He's already through the next corner by the time Tiedrich even approaches that corner. A lot of shuffling around at this point.
What tires did TJ pit onto? That will be
That is the medium compound.
The medium. So they are going on different strategies, the Confirm Racing Squad drivers. Man15 going on the soft tire, which is faster at first, but doesn't last as long. And Tiedrich going on the slower, but stable mediums.
I don't even know what to look at right now, as this whole field is split into a whole array of different strategies. Going with Chris has taken the lead on that hard compound tire.
Hopefully the running in clean air is going to help him. A lot of useful slipstream around this track, but also a lot of dirty air in the tight and fast corners that can send you into the gravel, especially as the tires wear down. Looks like he's going for a opposite strategy. He wants to have the better tire near the end of the race, gain some track position and gain some time, but Manpifting is catching up to him very quickly.
Purple
Looks
sector.
like Manpifting might set the fastest lap of this race on this tour.
Oh, he's catching him at a rate of not 2.6 now, the gap. As we see, Italy is though also DNFing out of the race. The PHX Imperium car has DNF'd.
1:35.4 is the fastest lap as the PHX Imperium driver. Italy is, though, retires from this race. Brawl Star Master, clean stop for the 50 crew. The Polish team receives their driver. Running in that mid-pack, was trying to catch up with that battle, and looks like is going to clear, yes, is definitely going to clear Tofu, who has had quite a difficult time of it in this race. Is just now going onto the main straight as Brawl Stars exits.
Yep.
Ooh, you can see how difficult that pit lane exit is. Is he going to tap the wall? No. And seems to exit cleanly, goes straight onto the racing line, as is his right, as T-Jerk now is catching Avaflakis, who gained track position early with that undercut and the soft tire, and is now having to pay the price, having pitted so much earlier than all the other drivers. T-Jerk is gaining time through the chicane.
Oh, very wide from Avaflakis. He's picked up some dust. Now gotta watch his marks in the hairpin. Goes very wide, goes Avaflakis, but just stays within the track limits. But that does not matter as T-Jerk Boy overtakes for B3 and the podium position, as Going Me Chris has been also overtaken by Manpifting. Yeah, Going Me Chris is just like a boat trying to stay on that track within the track limits.
Tread water and hold on tight. Better things are to come, hopefully for Going Me Chris too, when he pits onto that better tire. Currently out in front, but realistically his rivals are quite far behind, and he's looking to beat them and get a strong midfield result today, or perhaps something greater if he can play this right. Manpifting is your race leader, having just pitted, and is now on the soft tire. His teammate and championship rival T-Jerk is behind on the harder medium tire, hoping to go longer. The undercut, very powerful on this track, but you can't do it every single stint, or you'll have to pay for it by running the longest stint of all at the end of this race. So, a game of chess between the teammates and the rest of the field, having seemingly left Avaflakis behind. Well, Avaflakis is on course to possibly get a podium. As it stands now, Going Me Chris 2 still owes the field a pit stop.
Yep, we've seen some rough driving from Avaflakis right there as he goes across the bumps. But he's falling away from T-Jerk. I think this was a little bit expected considering the tire strategy. Running now on the medium compound, a more worn compound than his rivals in front.
We apologize for any lag that might occur on the stream. Formula ROBLOX League is a league that operates all over the world and has to tolerate all kinds of different types of Wi-Fi. But we thank you for joining us for FRL's coverage of the Season 10 Division 1 race here at the Motor Park Nagoya. Manpifting is your race leader from Going Me Chris 2, who owes the field a pit stop. Championship leader TJ is in third on the medium tire compared to Manpifting's soft, and doesn't have to pit as soon as Manpifting, rather. Avaflakis had a good run and at fourth. On the soft tire early on, Crisscross OMG is 5th, KitKat 6th, Plague 7th, Tier Travel 8th, Sebastian Coteau is 9th, Crackdev is 10th, Sussing Imposter 2244 11th, Brawl Stars Master YT is 12th, and Tofu returns to Division 1 and runs 13th, and this is the last of the runners. That is your field as it stands.
Yeah, we've just crossed the midway mark of this race, and I think we've seen a mistake from Sebastian Coteau as this battle has just started with Tirochelvam. Let's see the lines through under the bridge next to the beautiful Nago Park FRL's Recreation Center. The chicane, neat and tidy is what I meant to say. The spoon curve punishing the suspension. And so very wide there.
Ooh.
All four wheels off the
Oh.
track. And T-Drick Boy has overtaken Goemon Chris for second place. I think it's time to hang it up and just box at this point.
Remember, Going Chris 2 is looking to beat his rivals further back in the field where he was fighting earlier. Less so the drivers running out in front, and is more so using them just as a way to pull them along on this opposite strategy. So, difficult now for the Swift GP driver, but better things to come later for sure.
Stays out for this tour of the circuit as we head into lap 15, very wide once again.
We saw about 9 or 10 laps was the pits time for the first medium runner. I imagine he's going to stay out for another lap or two to try to run the mediums. It'll be quite torturous if he wants to make it to the soft window, which would be about 7 laps to the end, probably about
Very
lap
wide
19.
once again.
See, there's just absolutely no grip on that Swift GP car as it stands.
Play Games is closing up on his teammate in the Scuderia Squadra of KitKat. They have to make sure not to touch each other, because that would be detrimental to the team's success in this Grand Prix. Through the chicane, nice, very well taken.
The two teammates fighting into what is called the Spoon Curve Play Games in what seems to be his final Nagoya Grand Prix, as he retires at the end of the season, from what I've been told, chases his young teammate Kit Kat, who almost won the Division 2 East Championship last season, lost it by 1 point once all the results were tallied. The Italian driver in that number 21, a race winner last season, still has to wait behind his teammate as it stands. It seems quite stalematy between the two Scuderia Squadra drivers, the 21 and the 13.
Let's run on board with Goemon Chris as he approaches the option to pit for the 15th time, as Man Pifting is into the pits, followed by Goemon Chris. That's quite an early pit stop for Man Pifting, I would say.
Goes off these soft tires, does not want to waste any time for the final stint. If you pit too late for your final stint, you simply don't have enough laps to make it to the end. Ava Flackies removes the mediums for another set of them.
I feel like Goemon Chris has really pulled a great trick on the rest of the field here, has stayed out forever for the one stop, and he's actually in net P3, fighting for the podium once again, as he always does.
Krakdev is fighting Sebastian Coteau into the first and second corner using Tito Chelvam as a tow. The number 10 TMP Motorsport driver in that distinct black and red livery is being pulled along by the reigning Division 2 East champion in that tight midfield fight, going through the chicane, bump and jump into the air. Krakdev falls behind by flying through that chicane, rushes forward as Sebastian Coteau takes an early braking zone, but is still behind as it stands going into this fast chicane. It's wide, but you can still make mistakes, as we see Eva Flackies and Goemon Chris 2 are fighting for what might be a net third position in this race as it stands. The strategies are all mixed up. Tries the up, tries the under, bumps over the curbs. It looks like Eva Flackies has just nosed ahead of the Swift GP driver. Further up the road, but probably owing the field a pit stop, we see Krakdev is falling a little bit out of sync with Sebastian Coteau in this train, but it's still in the slipstream. Always an opportunity at the chicane. As you see Teo Chevin go wide, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
This yo-yo effect is absolutely insane. In one turn, one driver can be ahead, another turn, a different driver is up ahead. It's absolutely peak cinema right here in Nagoya.
Tries the up, tries the under into the final corner. Sebastian Coteau takes 6th place from Teo Chelvam, who is tucking into the slipstream on the oval section of this racetrack and attempting to get that position back, all the while being mindful of Krakdev. Further up the road is Man Pifting, who just did a pit stop and is looking to catch up to the drivers. Has to either cut through this traffic or hope they pit before he reaches them. Ideally, he does reach them and get some nice slipstream, as we see Play Games cut right in front of his teammate, overtakes him. For what position is that? That is
Third
on
place.
the road, currently third, but they owe the field a pit stop.
This is so exciting to see these drivers battling it out, as a little bit wider, dipping the tire into the grass. This chicane once again very punishing if you take it wrong, but so satisfying when you take it right. battles all around the field for 6th place, 2nd place. Play games, I don't know what to watch first. KitKat has made a mistake. It's all chaos in rainy. It's rainy, but actually dry conditions, Nagoya.
Having cleared his teammate, Play Games has now cleared Crisscross OMG into that chicane. As the rain has stopped, the track will start drying soon, but it is actually cloudy out, so the drying rate will be slower than if the sun was out. No further rain in this race, according to what we see. The sun will peek through the clouds in 20 minutes, but most likely the race will have concluded by that point. It is going to be a slowly drying track for the remainder of the Nagoya Grand Prix. We ride on board with the number 10 black and red car of TMP Motorsport car of Zero Crack Dev, once known in around about 2023 in the Formula Roblox base game world as the driver with the most SR at that time. I'm not sure who it is now. I haven't checked in many a year, but he definitely entered our public conscious then. Quite a character, races in a lot of different disciplines. It was nice to see him return to FRL this season, dominated in his Division 2 return, moved up to Division 1, and seems to be running very well as in this division as well. Pardon my words, easy for me to say. Gomi Chris 2 is behind these two and has done his pit stop very recently. Sebastian Cateau has to go heavy on that thing. I think he went a bit too deep into that corner, cut the inside of the spoon, and Gomi Chris 2 will get ahead of him for 8th place as Crackdev moves up into 7th and chases the reigning Division 2 East champion. He runs wide on that corner, but there is grip to be had there. Late on the brakes for Goemi Chris 2. Superior tire traction. Goemi Chris 2 gets in front of him. He wants to move up the field. He doesn't want to hang around here in the midfield.
Also fights between the Orleo Contingents Racing and the Scuderia Squadra drivers. As
tries the up, tries the under, Crisscross OMG, slides past the Scuderia Squadra. It was a rough line for KitKat through that corner, and now one of the race leading drivers who hit it a moment ago, Man Pifting, is now cutting through this field, this section. Will T-Jerk have to pit again as Gomi Chris 2 sets the fastest lap of this race with 2 purple sectors?
Man Pifting has now taken P2 away from Crisscross, and he's going to be chasing after T-Jerk, who I believe is going to switch onto the soft compound tire this or next lap.
T-Jerk is currently the hunted. He wants to become the hunter at the end of the stint. It's going to be very unlikely that he'll be able to go to the end on this track. We're also going to see the evolution continue on this racetrack as it is drying. Times will get faster. All drivers running the slick compound tires.
Look at the gap.
And Pifting sets the fastest first sector on that lap, is going for a fastest lap of this race. At least he is, ostensibly, through the medium tire, running fresh medium tires as the track dries. Runs over the curb, over where a straight used to be, into this tight hairpin. Easy to get it wrong here. Uses every bit of the racetrack. Very well driven from the English driver in that number 7. He is trying to put his teammate under pressure for this pit stop. He is the fastest driver on track as it stands.
The gap is just deleting itself away from T-Jerk. It was 7.5 as we entered like sector 2, and it's now 6.5 as we approach the finish line. T-Jerk stays out.
We're on board with Man Pifting, which means T-Jerk does stay out for another lap. He might be confident then that on the soft tire with the improving track, he can approach him as he sets a 133.7.
Going Chris has taken away that final last purple sector from Man Pifting, but it didn't matter for the Englishman in the Confirmed Racing Squad car. As the battle continues for 3rd place between Crisscross, Play Games and KitKat, these 3 have been inseparable for the last 12 laps since the last pit stop.
I don't recall when their last pit stop was. I assume they still need to stop again, though I might be wrong on that. If they are going to the end, it is possible.
I don't think so. I think they